Will the rapture come on June 26? Pentecost has been disproved as the day of the rapture and Russian attack. When I look to June as the month, as a possible month of the Russian attack and the rapture, which happened together, what do I find? Lo and behold, June 26th is the third anniversary of the legalizing of gay marriage by the Supreme Court on June 26, 2015. That date is a doozy of a possibility as far as rapture and Russian attack. I mean that nuclear war on that date would serve to tarnish or blacken gay marriage forever. In other words, it would never recover. Yes, June 26, 2018 is it, in my opinion. I mean, I expect the rapture and Russian attack on that date. But what about the 5 months of tribulation that begins with the rapture and with the Russian attack? You see, the Russian attack begins the Russian rule over the world, and that period is called the tribulation. If it begins June 26, when should it end? When would the 5 months end? Well, the second coming of Christ would still occur at the Feast of Tabernacles, like Zechariah 14:16 seems to indicate, but the actual 5 months would last 1 month beyond that and would finish in the middle or towards the end of November. When I was thinking of Pentecost as the beginning of the tribulation, with the Russian attack occurring at Pentecost, the Feast of Tabernacles, which is 5 months later, what would be the second coming and the finish of the tribulation. But now, Feast of Tabernacles should be the second coming, but the 5 months lasts 1 month longer. The actual overthrow of Gorbachev, the Antichrist, would take 1 month longer than the second coming. So the 5 months of tribulation would run from June 26 to mid or late November. Why wouldn't the second coming of Christ bring about the downfall of Gorbachev immediately, in other words, within the month of October? Well, the idea is that the second coming of Christ raises up an army of Russian soldiers they are invading Israel at the time of the second coming. Christ turns these Russian soldiers into his soldiers. He sends them back home to Russia to proclaim his glory. That's from Isaiah 66, verse 19. They are who overthrow old man Gorbachev. Now, the idea is it takes some time for them to travel back to Russia and to proclaim the glory of the second coming of Christ, which they have just witnessed. That explains the time lag between the second coming and the overthrow of Gorbachev at the end of the 5 months, which is late November. The overthrow of the Antichrist is the express purpose of the second coming, according to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 7 and 8. P.S. Please feel free to talk about June 26 as the possible date of the rapture and the Russian attack. Thanks for getting the word out about the rapture and the Russian attack, possibly on June 26. And don't forget to tell people what June 26 is, the third anniversary of the Supreme Court legalizing gay marriage in 2015. Part 2. After the nuclear war, the blame game will begin. People will ask, why did God let nuclear war, Russian attack, befall America? Who or what is to blame for God letting nuclear war befall America, and secondarily the whole world? If nuclear war comes right at the anniversary of the legalizing of gay marriage, wouldn't that automatically make gay marriage and homosexuality in general stand out as the obvious reason for God allowing nuclear war to befall America? But why would God feel the need to single out gay marriage and homosexuality in general, in particular, above all the other abominations like abortion, pornography, gambling, you name it? Traditionally, we have thought of same-sex relations as unnatural, quote, against nature. But the opposite might also be true. It is so bad because it is natural. So natural that it is much too natural to be acceptable. Eating food is natural, and therefore obscenity can be thought of as natural, but it's also considered unnatural. Obesity is so bad not because it's unnatural, but because it is natural, and but because we're doing what is natural. Likewise with sex. Masturbation is natural, but there is something that could be thought of as the equivalent to obesity in regard to masturbation. I would say that homosexuality is to masturbation what obesity is to eating. Obesity involves the same organs and the same action as normal eating. Likewise with homosexuality, you're using the same organ and performing the same action as masturbation, but the results are much different. If society is tolerant like it is today, homosexuality would become as prevalent as obesity is today. But by God arranging for nuclear war, which is could be thought of as the judgment of God, to occur right on the anniversary of the legalizing of gay marriage, God will be making permanent His displeasure with homosexuality. It'll be indelible forever, for 1,000 generations, for 1,000,000 generations. This will make homosexuality stand out as divinely forbidden, and that it will clue people in that God is supremely displeased by same-sex relations. Not necessarily because it is so bad, but because it is so natural that it becomes too easily accepted. Please send comments and questions to joegrace@gmail.com. JOEGRACE@gmail.com.